Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our special meeting of the Board of Education. To those of you in person and to those live streaming, welcome. We'll call this meeting to order, and I'll ask our secretary to take roll and establish a quorum.
Thank you. Member Lopez?
Present.
Member Otto?
Here.
President Craighead?
Here.
Member Benitez is not here. Vice President Miller?
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you. And do we have anybody here for public testimony?
No, we do not.
Okay. In that case, we will jump right in to our Interim Guardrail 2A. Dr. Baker.
Thank you. What a wonderful opportunity we have today to continue the process of hearing about our interim guardrail. So this is the fourth of 5 guardrail monitoring reports. And actually the report is in this evening's agenda, but we have a real pleasure this afternoon of getting to interact with staff and parents from our school system around the topic of engagement and inclusive decision-making. So Interim Guardrail 2A is, by June 2028, the number of participants across a variety of modes of engagement, focus groups, town halls, surveys, who provide input on district-wide initiatives aligned to board goals and guardrails will increase from 0, which was the baseline, to 20% of student enrollment. So today is an opportunity that Dr. Brown is going to lead in hearing from those who are engaged in the work of our district at the school level and have much to share about the work that they are doing. And so I hope you'll listen this afternoon, hearing the lived experience and the implementation of those who will share with us, so that tonight when we get to the monitoring report, it will be an opportunity for asking any questions specific to that report, but that you'll take in mind what we've heard from those who are here to share with us this afternoon. And with that in mind, I'll turn to Dr. Brown.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the opportunity, and thank you already for your time this afternoon. For anyone who's not currently using it, we have an interpretation device to be used for those that are not Spanish speaking, so that we can engage in a way that is productive and honoring of our panel members. So thank you so much for being here. What I said in introduction of today is that the stories that you will honor and bring forward in the conversation today are not in any of our papers. Your stories are not in any of our papers. We thank you for bringing your experience to us, and we continue to commit to using the experiences that you offer and that is offered by our community to inform the work that we're doing. So thank you so, so much. With that, I'd like to ask you each to just introduce yourself, your name, and the schools that you are connected to this year. Yeah.
Sí, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Claudia Figueroa y soy madre de familia de una hija. Está en Hughes en sexto grado. Y es un honor estar aquí.
And it's an honor to be here today.
Thank you so much.
Marcelo, and I'm currently the counselor on special assignment with Dr. Lucy Salazar under the EEP department.
Buenas tardes.
Good afternoon.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Damaris Santana, soy mamá de familia de un niño de Stanford que va en sexto y Vanessa Brizuela de Dooley que va en tercer grado. Y agradecida de estar aquí.
Grateful to be here.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Clarissa Tolentino, proud principal at Grant Elementary.
Thank you all so much for taking your time to join with us today. So just in opening, and this is a question for anyone, so the person that feels like jumping in, please do. And our hope is to just have a conversation. So pretend like we're just sitting on a couch somewhere talking. Right? And all these others are not here right now. We're just talking. So try to think of it in that way. I'm sure it feels just like that, right? But thinking about that, could you just share a highlight of the engagement work that you've been a part of just in this year? Just a highlight of something that really stands out for you.
Buenas tardes nuevamente.
Good afternoon
Este
again.
último año
This last year has been very enriching as a member of school site counselor at Stanford and at Dooley, and also a trainer for the workshops, parenting partners, the family meals. I have had the opportunity to participate. The most relevant has been being witness of the transformation the parents have gone through. Not just to listen in, but to making it reality in their homes, and including my own. I saw it in practice in the books and also the workshops. And then we had a safe space to hold these, and we saw the vulnerability of the parents. Those deep connections showed us that school can be a support, a community support.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. What else?
Bueno, en lo personal, estar involucrada me ha permitido ayudar a otros padres de familia.
To support other parents.
He tenido mucha empatía.
I've had a lot of empathy with new parents to the district. I've supported them without any questions they had, and also feeling in community and feeling welcome, not feeling alone. What I have learned in this journey in Long Beach Unified is, I try to share it, helping them feel welcome and supported, because oftentimes they don't know the system, they don't know how things work, and they're afraid. So as parents, when we engage, has allowed to guide other parents to let them know, come on, let's go to the workshops, let's go talk to Myra. That has helped us become empowered and also be an example for our children. My daughter is here today, and I feel blessed that I'm an example for her. And I can say, daughter, let's do positive things for the community, for the school, with everyone. So I feel grateful to give you these words, and also knowing that through these workshops that are provided, which Dr. Salazar gave us the opportunity to take place in, and it has empowered us. So together we are stronger and we are more. So that's what I tell parents. Together we can do more.
Beautiful.
I value everything that has been done. I truly am grateful for it. And I can say thank you very much.
Can I ask a quick question? You might have answered this already. At what age did your daughter come into the district, or what grade?
Desde kindergarten.
Since kindergarten.
Ella ya cortó la pandemia.
After the pandemic, she was in a Dooley for elementary school, and I've always been involved. The staff also is very important. They help us come into the school, and since she was very little, I have been involved. Each day I want to learn more, and that's why I am excited to continue to work together, to continue to support other parents.
I lied. I have a second question. When you talked about your engagement, what was one of the first groups or cohorts that you remember engaging with as early as kindergarten for your daughter? Just once again, out of curiosity.
I was in the ELAC committee with Mr. Galanis. I remember he retired from the district already, and he was a very nice person. He's the one that invited me. He said, I would talk to him in Spanish, and he asked me, why don't you join the ELAC committee? And those were my first steps into the schools and then the district. There was another parent that spoke Spanish. I would say, hey, there's an ELAC committee, the schools at council. And so I got informed and I got involved.
It's beautiful. You can't see the smiles on the faces behind you, but there are some very proud people, including your daughter, as you each share. There's a lot of pride in the relationship that's been built. So thank you both. I want to give Myra and or Clarissa a chance to add in terms of just a moment that stands out, a highlight for you.
Currently, a highlight, I think it's being able to participate and be part of this department and seeing these parents blossoming and having a voice and being able to project how empowered they feel. And the workshops have been amazing. And watching them teach the workshops, there's two very well-rounded women who have been working hard to make a voice for themselves and for the other schools and the other parents. So it's a proud moment.
Yeah, thank you for that. Ms. Tolentino.
This past year, I've had the benefit of overseeing and empower our parent engagement facilitator. I want to do a shout out to Maya Oliver. She's amazing and monumental in facilitating and coordinating parent workshops through all the ones that they've already mentioned prior, ELAC and School Site Council, community outreach events. And at Grant, we've totally committed to one community outreach event a month to ensure that we're inviting our parents into our spaces. We've transformed, we've changed from and shifted from a transactional interaction with our parents to more of a transformational one where they are pretty much engaging with the teachers in the classroom. We're not doing a no longer sit and get in a parent workshop like we used to do. Yes, we do still have those, but what we're doing is we've invited our parents into the spaces. We used to do, like one of the examples when we were facilitating the math initiatives for the district. We've opened our school to have our parents engage in the school-wide counting collections in the classroom as if what we used to do is a read-in. The other things is in regards to those shifts and practices, they work in collaboration with our equity and engagement partnership department through parenting partners as well that have been able to connect us with all those workshops like Calm and Kind, health, Calm and Kind, financial literacy. And the other things with regards to community engagement, those highlights is where we had community partnerships through a curriculum that we're piloting at our school. And it has opened up opportunities with Big Saver and our newest partners. It's been now a 3-year partnership where I'm getting a text from Mr. Huerta, shout out to him too. He's the CEO of Big Saver.
Yeah.
He's reached out and asked, like, how many students do you have at your school? But our newest partner is with Stormberger. They're joining us at our Spirit Assembly on Friday to be able to partner that, and hopefully that opens more doors with community partnerships. So again, those are some of the highlights, and as a result of that, it's been definitely rewarding. I'll give you a quick testimonial from a parent and a dad who shared that through our Welcome Back picnic, for example, where at the first days of school, it's always awkward at the beginning because no one seems to know one another. Yeah. But over the course of that, a quick testimonial from a dad who was a TK parent there now. And one of our parent meetings, and it was through these workshops that was coordinated, he shared how he's formed a connection with another family and they're now picking up one another's children. Yeah. So those are some of the things that we're tapping into as a result of partnering with and alongside our community at Grant.
Thank you for that. And that's an example of the stories that are not in the paper, right? That we really want to hear more about. And it's a perfect segue because one of the things we wanted to ask about, we have tried at the district level to be much more intentional in the way we engage. And we want to ask you, with all the ways that you've been connected to school since your children were little, right? Speaking to the parents, you've both been very involved moms. Speaking to our staff members who are here, you've had different experiences with engagement. What is feeling different right now? What is something that has changed in the experience, in the way that we are engaging families? And can you talk a little bit about some of those things?
I think I'll go first. I think the changes that have been made, or I think I've noticed from our department, is we've been able to create a safe space for families, not just for a certain community or a certain school site. I think our parents have been able to run the voice and say, hey, you know, here's a safe space, here's a workshop, maybe this workshop will work for you. I know sometimes we go with the intent that we're teaching the parents, but the more we hear them, they're teaching us. And we've been able to provide and listen to them about what workshops work for them. And so Stephanie has been able to provide those workshops to send them out to the school side. Dr. Salazar has been working with us over data, like, are you listening to the parents? This is what they're asking for. Mr. Danges has done a fabulous job of making sure we have the interpretation, the equipment needed, so no one feels left out. And I think that has provided a huge safe space for our parents, so they can come, they can learn, and they can learn off each other, which is the best part, because they all have different experiences, but sometimes their experiences have some kind of a connection with another parent. They're like, oh, okay, so that's what I feel.
Wonderful. Big head nods coming from behind you in that front row, too. Thank you. What else? What's different?
Sí, como menciona Mayra,
As Myra
ha sido la
mentioned, the trust and also reaffirming what we've learned. It has been a great experience for me. And also continuing to learn and wanting to learn. I want to invite others, other parents. This year, I learned that when we want to learn, there's a change in the families. And then so we continue to try to change. And by the same token, the school allowing them in, allowing them, welcoming them into has been, and also let them know that it is important to engage in the schools for the benefit of our children, because they are the future of our society and the ones that will continue our society.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Anything else that you want to add about what feels different this year?
Bueno, es un clima de incertidumbre.
It's a climate of uncertainty right now with the situation that we are going through.
Yeah.
People are afraid. Many parents, sadly, because of the current situation, have stopped coming to the workshops. And our work as a involved parent is to let them know that they're in a safe space, that nothing will happen to them. We know that we are being provided a safe space for everyone, and that's why we are trying to let other parents know, those who are hiding, that they're okay, that nothing will happen, and that it's difficult. But as you said, the reality is what you live outside of the schools. So when you do things with heart and for the well-being of other people and for the community, that's what in general makes us stronger. And also that the community can think that they can move forward without being afraid about what's going on outside. Many families have a lot of stress, a lot of frustrations because of the daily life. Life in this country is not easy. So when we as parents have empathy, we do this by connecting with them. What you feel, I feel. And when we unite, when we make that connection, to understand that if we have a strong connection, everything else will come through.
Thank you for calling that into the room. It's definitely something that we as a school district have been holding with our community. And so thank you for actually speaking it and for honoring the ways that the relationships have created a sense of safety amongst the parents who come together. So thank you for adding that. What else? Anything
I'm
else?
actually going to ask a question.
Please.
¿Qué podemos hacer nosotros como mesa
What
directiva,
can we as a
como
board
personal en el
do,
distrito
the
para
staff, in the district,
que los padres se
so that
sientan
parents
seguros
feel
al
safe
venir
when they
a
come
las
in
escuelas
to the
para que
schools, so
ustedes
that
tengan como
you
padres
come
los
in as
apoyos que
parents
necesitan
and
para ese
receive the supports that
involucramiento.
you
¿Qué,
need.
qué piensan ustedes
What do you
que
think
podemos hacer
we can do
para incrementar el
to
número de
increase the
padres
number
que
of parents
quizás se sienten
that might
que esos
feel
espacios como las escuelas no
that those
son
spaces,
nada
like
amigables
example,
para,
like
para
schools
nosotros
are
que
not
hablamos
friendly
español o que hablamos
for
otro
us who
idioma? ¿Qué
speak
podemos
Spanish
hacer?
or other languages? What can we do? Great question.
And you can answer with the real answer.
Yep.
So if you're thinking, should I say it or should I not? Please say it. We really want the real, that's what this is. This is real. It's a good question and we want the real thing. So don't filter, just say what is there for you.
En realidad, muchas veces depende del personal de
Many
la
times
escuela.
it depends on the school staff.
Yo la verdad estoy agradecida
I am
en donde
grateful
llegaron mis hijos como primera
where my
escuela, que
students
fue Dulia
attended.
Elementary. Y al ingresar yo a la dirección no se me brindó nada de información, solamente la
So
inscripción de
when
mis
I
hijos.
went in to enroll them,
y
they
fue
didn't
todo.
give me much information, just enrollment, and that was it.
El personal al
And
que me
the
refiero
staff
es en este
that I'm
caso la
talking about,
facilitadora que a mí me ayudó
And I'm talking about
a
the facilitator who supported me and to get to know the system, but who introduced me to her was another parent.
Mhm.
She's an engaged parent, and they make sure that parents are aware. And so they invited me, and then the facilitator gave me information and invited me and made me feel that you have to belong here because I didn't know the system. I feel that the staff that has the information and shares with the parents is important. The staff that is engaged with the district and wants other parents to get involved.
Facilitadores, ¿no? Que se
The
comuniquen con los
facilitators
padres,
to
que estén
communicate
ahí
with
para
parents, to be
apoyarlos.
there to support them.
Eso es lo que,
That's
es lo
what
que se necesita.
we need.
Muchas gracias.
Yes, thank you.
Gracias. Bueno, como me dijo, voy a hablar del corazón.
Hey, I'm going
Yo
to speak
siento-
from the heart. I feel that we need more outreach from the district staff.
Mhm.
We are at one level, but beneath the lower is where we find all the needs, the true needs. I don't know if maybe you need to create a committee, something for each school where they connect at every school. Maybe have a calendar, create a committee with staff, and that says, here we are, you're not alone, and then work hand in hand, because the roles of the teachers is one, the role of the staff is different, and so we have to have a bridge to connect and to help us feel safe and that we're not alone.
Mhm.
As Damari said, the role of a facilitator has helped me a lot because she opened many doors to knowledge, to know what to do here, there. Sadly, when the position was closed, we don't know what we will do because we don't know who we will be talking to.
Mhm.
In my case, for example, at Hughes, the principal will be doing everything that the facilitator was doing. So I don't know if he will have the time. He also speaks a different language, so those will be barriers that will impact us. I would like to help more parents. I do as much as I can because I want them to feel that they are okay and that they can be set a good example for their children. Because if as parents we're not connected with the system and we're not models for our students, our children are unprotected. And so education is not only the job of the school, but also as our job as parents.
Thank you for what you offered. Ms. Marcelo or Ms. Tolentino, do you want to offer into the question that Ms. Lopez asked about promoting sense of safety and what helps to do that?
Being the principal, I think it's important, as the administrator really emphasized, the importance of customer service, because it's so important that, because our office staff, whether it be an immediate office assistant, office supervisor, that they really, like, a smile, it doesn't cost anything. So it's very important to just welcome them and help them and help guide them through a very complex system that we have in our, with our district, and all of it. It's very complex. And so with some of our new parents, especially as we roll TK and kinder, just the importance of customer service, and they know that we're here to listen. And even listening, it doesn't cost anything. So it's very important to sit there and listen, and then guiding them through and connecting them either with parent leaders. And we have some awesome parent leaders as I'm listening to them. I'm in awe of their presence right now. But I think it's important to really emphasize who those parent leaders are, that we can connect some of our new parents to help navigate through of our systems. And especially, though, the importance of just our office staff and creating that welcoming environment for new parents that are coming into our schools.
Thank you.
So, I'm sorry, Dr. Benitez. So my initial question to Ms. Figueroa was centered around my curiosities about when parents begin to engage with our campuses, right? And so I'm probably not using true data, but maybe more anecdotal data, where I can remember as a student, my mom was one of those moms that if I was on the football team, she was going to be team mom. If I'm going to Stanford, then I want to be part of the PTA. And so I can remember seeing those parents that were always hyperly engaged with whatever activity that their child participates in. And so it sounds like you two women are in the same boat. But my curiosities have always been around, how do we get those parents that may have an interest, may also be just as intrigued and invested in the success of their child, but didn't know that if there was a space, or didn't know that there's a community that is conducive to them feeling supported and supporting their young people. I guess, and so when we're talking about like the outreach component of that, I don't know where I'm actually going to go with this question, but I guess my curiosities are more around like, what are your thoughts about how we engage those parents? We're talking about the parent who has a child who's been at the campus for 2 to 3 years, and you see them as you're going to pick your kid up and drop them off, but we want them to be engaged. Do you have any suggestions on how we engage or excite that parent? Just once again, from your curiosity, from your perspective.
I'm going to speak brief on that. I think our department has done an excellent job of trying to engage the parents that do want to participate, but have a standoffish kind of like, oh, should we not? Perfect example. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but she came from Dooley and was transitioning to Hughes. So from there, she knew Dooley was very involved and had a lot of workshops, parent workshops coming in. So she kept coming to our workshops based on Cafe, and then she was like, I want to do this for Dooley, for Hughes, I want to start this for Hughes. So she came with tools and continued her voyage, or her from Dooley, and moved it on to Hughes, and now she has a group of parents working with her at Hughes as well.
Bueno, en lo personal, me he
Personally,
enfrentado al reto porque
It's been a challenge because Huge Middle School is not the same as an elementary school, because parents, in elementary you can see them outside of the school, and in middle school they just drop off children, but it has not been a barrier. It's about, hi, how are you? My barrier right now, it's the language. I don't speak the English well, but even that doesn't hold me back. Sometimes I'm surprised by parents. I say, hi, how are you? Do you know about this? And talking with them, I find out that they're not aware of the committees, that there's a school site council, that there's a DLAC. I was surprised by the enrollment at Hughes. It's 1,200 students, and 600 of those are Hispanics. So when you get involved, you learn the situation at the school. You learn that there's a lot of parents like myself that don't have knowledge about the school. And the way to connect is you have the data, you have the phone numbers to the parents, call them, invite them to the workshops. Have a workshop like the ones that we've gone through. Family Leadership Institute, we are leaders. And then there's a lot to work with. So if you're asking how do we do it, that's a starting point.
Hablando personalmente, siento que
Speaking from personal experience, I feel that when you get parents to feel engaged in their students' education, because one thing is we don't participate because we don't know how much we can do at schools, how much we can participate in the schools. So, for example, thanks to some parents that talked about the workshops that we had, they also helped me feel engaged because on one occasion the district had a workshop where they talked about how important it is for parents to be involved at schools, and so that information called my attention, and so I felt that I wanted to participate. But a lot of parents don't participate because they don't know, and then another reason is because they don't have transportation. They just walk to the schools and they don't have other means of transportation. So if we can maybe assign resources so the parents can have transportation to the workshops. And I know that it's not possible, but I have shared that if you could have like something that is mandatory in regards to participation in some kind of workshop for their children, because many don't participate because they feel like, oh, I don't feel like going. Sometimes we have the time, or we are busy at home, or just don't go because you don't feel like it. But if they feel that in some way it's like mandatory, maybe once every 2 months, and that would help them participate and understand how important it is.
Dr. Brown, since we're all jumping in here.
Please, yeah, please do.
Primeramente, muchísimas gracias por estar aquí. And I'll do it in English because I know our interpretation is going on.
That's why we're wearing this.
Yeah, but for our viewing audience as well.
Out.
We're good? Okay. ¿Prefieren en inglés o en español? Ok, en español. Quiero levantar dos cosas porque tampoco no quiero que sientan la presión.
I don't feel that you have to, I don't want you to feel pressure that you have to find solutions to all our issues. I don't want you to feel that we are trying to give you, we are not trying to get solutions from you for all our issues. But the two topics that I heard from you, first, there's a difference between participating and getting involved, community outreach, and or when we ask, what do you think about this, when you think about that, that's not engagement. It's only we call that outreach. You have clear that it's not a transaction, that we're not doing this for one school only. It's an engagement, and so thank you for understanding that. Another thing I want to mention is that it's not just about many of the things that we talk about in the district. We want them reflected at schools, and that is that the community has knowledge, the community has talents, and that the community has skills. And I hear in you that yes, that you participate in workshops and letting us know what workshops we want. That's important. But what I would like, and this is a challenge, not for now, but don't feel pressure, but for our district, together to working together with parents and families, and that would be elevate what has our district learned from you, what makes our district better with engagement and participation with the community. Many times we ask, there's a survey, there's a meeting, come to this, and then there's another opportunity to participate. What I hear is that our community has challenges and they are afraid of certain things. And so let's think about that. If you have ideas, I would love to hear them, but I would also want to present this to our district, to the principals, that we have to also raise what we've learned from you. Community engagement, of course, is for you to advocate. Advocacy is to make changes. And so the questions that we are asking you is, what else can we do to support that? But at the same time, I heard the service towards parents, or it's important. If you have any ideas, perfect. But the question is more, I know that the team back there, they are reflecting these values. It's not just about giving you information. And I don't want you to think that this is not important, but advocacy, participation, there's a purpose for it, which is improving the education for students. And I love that you're talking about the ideas that I don't want us to lose that thought. But when we talk about engagement with the community, it's not just about workshops or come and participate in this or come to this other meeting. It has to be together. You have to participate to improve. So if you have any ideas, I'm changing the question. What can we do? What can we do to improve the parent experience? We're not saying that you're representing the entire community, but obviously we could have more participation. We could have better treatment. We could have a better experience for everyone. And I think it is important to ask, what have we learned from you? How has our system improved because of you? Thank you very much for being here and for sharing your testimonies.
I wanted to ask you to, if you wouldn't mind, both of you, Ms. Santana and Ms. Figueroa, have had a really important experience that has led to your current work opportunity. Would you share a little bit of that journey from the workshops and the learning and the leadership to the work you're currently doing? Because it's a really important part of your story, which becomes a part of our story. So would you be willing to share about what you're doing now? Please.
Personally, my growth has been huge. I am an economist by profession, but first I'm a mother. I focus on being a mother. Participating in the workshops by the district has opened many possibilities. I am now a representative at a regional level, the state. I won over Norwalk, La Mirada, El Monte, Linwood, many districts. I felt empowered because it's not within the district, but I do represent the migrant program. And it was the workshops. It was the empowerment from those workshops. It was the connection, not just with my daughter. And I'm not just here for my daughter. I'm here as a parent. And I have empathy for many parents, just like Damaris. I just pulled her in and she was like, she was not too convinced. But that has been very satisfying. Everything I received and being able to participate as a parent. And I am proud to say that this is the beginning of many achievements, because this is a career that never ends. That's my personal achievement. I say that I'm proud because all district Long Beach won. So I say, okay, bravo Long Beach.
Thank you.
So I'm proud.
Thank you.
En mi caso, el
In
trabajo
my
que he estado
case,
haciendo
the work
es
that I've been doing is to dedicate my time to the workshops. It has been enriching and it had been rewarding being part of those workshops because I started with myself. I learned. I practiced what I preached. I learned to listen. And who helped me join in and was the facilitator. She got me started and put it into practice and then teach it. And I wasn't convinced at the beginning because I was wondering, like, how am I going to teach if I don't do it myself? But I've been surprised by individuals' vulnerability, and that's something that's missing in the school community. Our children are part of society, and many times as parents we don't think about that because we're busy with their routines, with stress, and when parents come to the workshops, they are very transparent. They talk about what's going on at home. When they hear something that they didn't know they were doing wrong, maybe, so they're surprised that everyone else is going through the same thing. So that's where the connection begins. They begin to learn, and the wonderful thing is that they put it into practice. And then for the next class, they participate and say, you know what, I did this at home. I tried this at home, and it worked. And that's the work that I've been doing with parents. We made a safe space for them so that they can come in and share their experiences. And I like it. I really like it. I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Compartirles otro
I
logro
wanted
laboral
to share
que
another,
estoy por aplicar para padre mentor
I'm about to
dentro
apply for
de
a
la región del
parent mentor in the county region. And that is something cool because I will support other parents directly in their homes.
Thank you for sharing how your own personal growth has given you a wider range of connection. One of the themes that is present in everything you've all shared is this idea of how relationships move, right? Through parents to other parents, through staff to other families. And that's something that we've really been seeking to do. And then the other theme is about learning, right? What we learn when we engage differently with each other and how that moves to other spaces. So here's the grand finale question that we want you to each say something about. And it's really about offering one recommendation. What should we do next? We've said we want to be in and with community. You've heard us say that. What does that look like, and what should we do next? Just offer one thing as we're kind of wrapping up that you feel we really need to hear, and go big. Say whatever it is that's right there for you. Please, Ms. Santana, you were right away, so please jump in.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Tengo mi acordeón porque dije,
I
no
just
se me
thought
vaya a
about something.
olvidar algo
I don't want to
importante.
forget something important. I do have a recommendation, and that would be working in and with the community. My recommendation would be to continue with the classes led by the facilitators. The district can design tools and wonderful programs, but the true bridge is the facilitators. They are who translate the school system. They know our family realities, so that the district can really be with community. It is vital to continue with these resources if we want to continue to reinforce the communication with the schools and families. We have to continue with the human factor and to establish the trust.
What else?
pues sería lo que comenta Damaris.
Same as Damaris shared, to continue with this staff that connects. There's a human connection. That's what we need as parents. It's not the same to come into an office, a school office, and find the secretary, or you don't have the same relationship. So if this role will no longer be in place, what follows? What will happen next? That's what we wonder.
Jump in, Myra, or Clarissa, whichever.
In my case as a counselor, I think building relationships is extremely important. I do feel that is the key to student success. We can completely put in X, Y, and Z programs and everything, but if we don't have that connection with the parents, the guardians, and they don't feel welcomed or safe, I think that's our missing component. And I think Dr. Salazar, Carmen, and Stephanie, and the entire EEP team has done an amazing job trying to work towards that.
Yeah, thank you for that.
También, bueno, quiero comentar que a veces
I also want to share
los
that
problemas
sometimes the issues within the school happen because of that reason, because there's no human interaction. There's a problem with, for example, a fight among two students and parents, and we don't have that connection. So that's what concerns me. How will we solve this? How? It's not the same to have a fight in elementary or middle school versus a high school, a fight in a high school. As a district, how will we handle that human aspect? So not just being okay, but feel that warmth that if we are being heard, and that you're able to express that issue that is going on.
Thank you very much. Okay, Ms. Tolentino, you're the closer.
I'm the closer. So one of the recommendations that I have is our approaches, along with everything else that everyone said, because I echo everything that they've shared. It's creating and continuing with the diverse parent community engagement events that we have to truly be in and with community. Part of that is really centralizing it so that we're going into the spaces of the community. We're frequently asking them to come to our schools and come to our schools for events. How about going to the local parks? How about going to the library? How about going to their faith-based organizations and outreach there? I know that those are some spaces and opportunities for us to be able to further outreach, because when Damaris and Ms. Santana and also Ms. Figueroa was mentioning how some parents are not engaged, well, it's not that they don't want to. It's around their schedules, their childcare, their transport, and everything, all those barriers that they mentioned. So what about ways that we can do that and hosting them? And I do want to shout out to Keisha Irving. I was able to be invited along with other elementary schools in the Northside Connect. I know she's currently dealing with the situation. So in the complexities of all of our jobs and responsibilities, balancing all of the things that happen unexpectedly, but continuing with putting at the forefront our community. She had a Northside Connect event, and it was a way to incorporate every single level from elementary to middle school to high school. Yes, it was at Jordan, which is where everyone's going to end, but what about in other spaces? So I'm just thinking of how can we do that so that we're going into the community too.
Thank you to each of you for what you've offered. You've each brought something from your experience that, as I said in the beginning, it's not in our papers, right? It's from what you've felt, what you've gained, what you've offered to others. So deep gratitude to you for the way that you've shared with us today, and also the way that you have been living into the idea of community strength and connection. I also just want to really acknowledge the proud front row that's sitting behind you, because as we've been talking, Stephanie Heilig, Carmen Hernandez, and Lucy Salazar, as well as Ms. Figueroa, your very proud daughter, sitting there. There's been a lot of heart and connection in the work. And so I want to acknowledge that, and thank you each so much for everything that you've done before today, and ongoing. I don't know, Dr. Baker, if you had anything in closing or.
I feel deeply grateful for what you have shared today, and I don't know if there are any other questions. We just have a couple of minutes before we'll need to close the session.
Dr. Baker, oftentimes when we have community members or students come and present to us, we don't often have an opportunity as board members to demonstrate what we're going to do with what we've heard. Sometimes it's in public comment, so just legally we're not allowed to respond to everything that's shared. So I do want to highlight something that all of you touched on with the last question. And it's around lifting up the importance of relationships at schools, trusting, safe relationships. And I don't want to downplay this, but I hope I say this in a way that's authentic to the spirit in which you said it. It is very important to have dedicated staff, right, that you feel a connection with, that you feel a mutuality with, that you feel safe with, that you trust, right, a dedicated staff. I also feel at the same time that means that we're not doing something else at our school sites in terms of the culture of the school, because everyone that you interact with, you should want to be able to trust and feel heard and feel listened to. So I think there's a broader sort of culture of the school, right? Absolutely, we need dedicated staff to support you, to support students, but I don't want you to think that I didn't hear, that the broader thing here is you should be able to feel that anyone at that school is going to listen to you, support you, help you. And again, in the goal is for your child and for all children. So I just wanted to make sure that you know that I heard that, and I wanted to say that so that I could make sure that everyone else, I see everyone nodding their head here. So thank you for that.
And I'm sorry. And I just had maybe a further interest for future conversations about interim goal 2, which as we're here today and we see 2 super moms, and we're talking about the great work that they've done for, and I recognized what was the undertone of my previous point, and it was around parent recruitment, right? And so as we talk about like parent recruitment or engagement, my curiosity, I couldn't help but get a little curious about the representation of fathers. And the dads who could also be just as engaged with these groups. I know that at least within our BSAI work, we've had a whole cohort of folks centered around a father's voice. And so for future meetings, I would love to have some information, or I'm just further curious on how we work to engage some of my brothers here to get them just as involved.
We do have dads involved.
Oh, I believe you. I know.
The wives bring the dads to the workshops too, and it's amazing.
Yeah. No, I absolutely believe you.
Well, on behalf of the board, I want to thank you very much for being here. I think you have an idea of how important it is for us to hear your stories, to find out what's working, maybe what we can improve on. I think we heard about the success of the workshops, the importance of having somebody you can trust, somebody who's welcoming. We heard, a smile doesn't cost anything. It goes to more than just school culture. And we also heard about what we can improve upon. And I also attended a DLAC meeting yesterday morning, and the theme is the same, about that personal touch, having a human being pay attention to you, listen to you, and help you. And what we heard about was the facilitators. And so we can't really end the conversation without mentioning that. And I know that our time is up for today's session, but going forward, those are the things that we will be addressing because it's important, and you've let us know that. So thank you very much. So without any objection, we'll adjourn this meeting, and we will reconvene in this room at 5 o'clock this evening. But I want to thank you again. Muchas gracias.